We're chasing comedy, working on jokes, working on bits, seeing what sticks, seeing what stinks. We're Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy.
Get that Duke draft pick. He's excited. Yeah. He's excited. I think there's no way the Mavericks didn't pay for that. That first round, that feels fishy, man.
I don't know. If you've been a Mavericks fan long enough, that feels like probability.
You think so?
That's the first time we've ever moved up in the lottery. We did the lottery 14 times. We have stayed put.
Wow.
6 times and moved down 7.
I don't know, man. That feels
we had
that feels like one of these
3 years straight, and we picked 4th every year.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was when we picked Jason Kidd, Jamal Mashburn, and who was he? Jimmy Jackson.
Nice. Yeah, I think somebody did a little of this. There's a little something for you. If we could just move up a little.
Luka, we could just move up a little. I'm interested in basketball again.
Right? It's well, I was excited about the Lakers thing. I thought that was fun. And then it's like, then they go out and I'm like, all right, I don't know what's left. New York, I guess.
You got him to move to LA where you can watch him up close.
I'm still excited. I hope he stays in LA. I don't think he will, right?
I have no idea. I don't know. Yeah. He could. Why not?
Yeah. He should. I think he makes a great Laker. He loves it out here. They already got him in showbiz. They got him he's doing like 9 commercials and he doesn't have to talk. I bet that's in the contract. He just says like one word.
Let him drink beer.
Yeah, we don't mind alcoholics out here. This is good.
We
don't mind him in Texas, which was the irony. I was like, that he
they just
is
don't like
a Texan.
You to look like an alcoholic. They like you to look like a businessman.
Yeah, well. That was the thing. They made it sound like he was 400 pounds or something. It was like, dude, he looked fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's always going to be he's always going to be playing that Charles Barkley game.
Yeah,
with his weight.
Yeah. You know? He's a little soft, a little pudgy.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're all NBA 5 years in a row, you know what?
Yeah, I don't care. I like it.
Weight, man.
I want my athletes banged up because I feel like I can relate to guys that, are a little off, that do stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want,
you know who looked like a specimen of a human being up to this day, Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
That's not how you want to gauge athlete success. You know who looks way worse than Ryan Leaf? Peyton Manning. And I will take the latter over the former every day.
Yeah, even Eli. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't mind, athletes having drug problems. I mean, look at all the great things some of these guys have done,
I mean, I love the Cowboys and you like the Steelers. So, I mean, that's a lot of different drugs.
For us to be fans or the athletes themselves. Yeah,
we had more of the cocaine. You guys had more of the amphetamine steroid stuff.
Oh, did we? We jacked up.
You guys were one of the first ones. The 70s Steelers.
70s Steelers. Okay.
Yeah, they were freaking crazy.
Right. Well, we don't talk about that. Those Super Bowls mean a lot to us.
I mean, look, hey.
And then the other 2 Super Bowls, at least one of them wasn't really ours to win. But we'll take it. I don't know. But I was back to the banged up athletes. I just think I appreciate it when somebody can pitch a no-hitter high or something. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
because you can pull that off.
the story of that Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that pitcher we were talking about it last week. That pitcher, unbelievable on LSD.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Doc else, that's a crazy drug. Like that's not
That's not like
weed
drug.
That's not like cocaine. All that stuff. You're focused.
Yeah, right.
I mean, both those drugs. You're focused. Alcohol.
This guy was pitching and avoiding dragons.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
That's great line.
He should get 2 perfect games out of that.
Yeah, he went into 3 portals of dimensions. And this guy's like, it's unbelievable. He's like going through space and that's, that guy should be talked about more. So this is the show, pretty much.
All right.
I just got stuff we think could be bits. But that's kind of what we do here. This is it's usually me and Brian, Scott McFadden. He's awful at telling me where he's going to be. Like he's just like, hey, I goes like, hey, okay, I'll see you Tuesday. Oh, I'm in Mexico, and the Wi-Fi is shoddy. And I'm like, what? You didn't tell me you were going to Mexico. So I don't know if he's in a prison. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, we usually do it. And just kind of, do premises and things. We banter and just, like whoever brings up the idea, kind of we work on theirs and we flip it, Okay. And then if we get bored with that, we got a little spin the wheel option, and we can just show what kind of improv we got.
I like it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's very, very artsy here, Jason. I've gotten very artsy
I appreciate it.
Moved to LA.
That's what we want. You gotta step out of your comfort zone, right?
You do got to step out. Well, one thing, you ever think of a bit and then you're like, all right, well, first of all, Jason Salmon, everybody. Sorry. He's a big deal. He's done a bunch of stuff. He's great. We love him. TV, film, whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll put the little credits under you.
Yeah, sure.
You're such a friend of mine that I don't even think about it. Like, I'm not going to introduce you as a guest. It's like,
I know, right?
Yeah. You're more family. But he's a big deal, guys. I'm very happy you're here and not Brian, to be honest with you. I needed a break. So this is great. But do you ever think of a bit where you're just like, somebody's probably done this, but then there's that thing in your head. You're like, all right, but I haven't seen it. So I haven't seen anybody do it. So here's the dilemma. And I'm like, and as it's starting to form, and then especially when it comes together nicely, you're like, all right, man, I probably saw this on Evening at the Improv and on 2006 or something. Yeah. But I don't know. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was talking to a buddy of mine who opened for Bill Burr.
Okay.
And he said he and Bill Burr had a almost like not word for word, but like the setup was very similar. Mm. And he was open. This was his first time opening for him.
Oh, wow.
And Bill Burr was doing the joke and he's like, oh, no. And it was just one of those random things.
And he did the joke first, and then Bill Burr did it.
No, I mean it's legitimate. It's one of those premises that is sort of where you think, has this been done? I feel like this has been done, probably.
Yeah,
like when something comes to you that's so obvious, and we don't know if it's obvious because we have the insane comedy brain, or if it's obvious because it's been done.
Yeah, and then there's the moral decision, are you the guy that's just going to have no material? Are you and just talk about yourself and this and that or whatever? But it is about yourself. I mean, like, for example, today, just this happened literally 20 minutes ago. I'm talking to Leah and we're talking it came up about like I needed I think she was going down to buy some dog food, right? So we got this point system at this gourmet dog food place because that's where my life is. And so she's going down there, and I go use my number so you get the points on the dog food in the future. Like you get buy 12, you get it back free or whatever. I go, do you know my number? And she's just like, yeah, I know your number. And then she like rattled it off. And then I was like, I know your number. And then she says, yeah, that's the only number I have memorized. And she says, I should probably memorize somebody else's because you never pick up your phone. So then became a whole thing. She's arrested and I'm not picking up my phone. She's in a Turkish prison. And it's like, and then it just became about me, not picking up the phone. And then it became about me. And then I was like, well, whose number do I have? What if you don't pick up your phone? And then I tried to memorize numbers today. Right. And it's just like, just the idea of trying to do that just feels very like, it's just not natural. And so I'm just like, all right, well, I should know my mom's phone number. I should know Leah's phone number. I should know, I got a lawyer that I need on, in there in my brain. I got a lawyer number. It's just the only numbers I have is like 8675309 and 1-800 mattress.
I can call Cars for Kids. That's my emergency contact. I like that. That's a good tweak to that joke. Is cards for kids?
Okay, all right, that's great. That's great. I mean, see, that's the one where I was wondering if people have been down there. I'm sure they've talked about it, but the premise, I guarantee but like just the foundation of it is, I'm sure, is somewhere out there. But like if all you're dealing with from the foundation, that's. You're going a different way. It's my thing. I mean, I literally was writing numbers down and like, because when we were kids, you'd have like 15 numbers in there, man.
That's all you knew, though.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, we didn't have, Instagram and all that, but
you didn't have any passwords.
No. What password? We have a locker combination.
Yeah, that's it. and even that was numbers. That was just a phone number with different dash sequences.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was, but still, I mean, were we smarter then when we didn't have stuff? Was that the key? Things are supposed to make us more advanced, make us dumber. I think that's what it is.
I think we're the same level of dumb. We just have so much more information. And so we go one of two directions. We either try to hide it by constantly reciting information that somebody we think is smarter than us has told us.
Yeah.
Or we just admit to it and go, I don't care.
Yeah, well, there's that. There's I don't care for sure. And then there's the facade, which I'm not going to lie. I mean, I can't imagine life without a calculator. Grammarly is like gives Leo a break. She doesn't have to proof every single thing I do.
I know it. Look, those of us who are good at grammar, we've been driven to the border of insanity by social media.
You're well educated. I went to art school, so I need Grammarly in my life.
I will say this: if somebody's ticking me off on one of the social media platforms, and I find a misspelling of your or your, I just spell it properly and respond to them with that, and I'm like, this hurts you more than anything I could.
Oh, it does. It's the ultimate takedown.
I had a guy who I disagreed just like night and day politically. And I mean, we would get in these drag out battles online, and he never unfriended me until one day I just corrected your, and he's like, that doesn't even matter. And I'm like, this is a written medium. I'm like, we got to follow the rules. And as soon as I said that, he's out. Boom. Unfriended me.
I've blocked like 6 guys that did that to me. I get it. I sympathize with that guy.
That is our knockout punch. Grammar people. Yeah. That's the ones where we're like, this is going to piss you off more than anything.
Well, I think that's the angle you should. I think do you do that because that's very funny. I'm
sorry. I got drilling going on.
Oh yeah. Well, it happens. It's Adam has an echoey room. It's like the whole thing. It's okay. We just call it's sound effects and podcasts at this point. Nobody cares.
The crappy thing about it is it sounds like I just ate too much at lunch. like it's not like a high pitched drill. It is legit. I would refer to this as a flatulent drill.
Yeah. Would headphones help or no?
I'm gonna try the headphones, so give me a second.
Yeah. I'm glad we got into this.
Because it's drowning my
I'm glad we got into this 8 minutes in. God forbid we do this before the show. This is Mr. Grammar over here.
All right, let me see.
He's only done like 5,000 podcasts in his life.
Good God.
He's got to show off his brick wall.
I know it, right?
Jealous.
Here's my you like it?
Very jealous. Yeah, of your natural brick wall.
Oh, you know what?
A lot of auditions to get that brick wall over there.
Oh, it's not a real brick wall.
Oh, it's not. I think you had a place that had a real brick wall, right?
No, I never did.
So did you put that up just for stand up?
I put it up just because it looked good as a backdrop, and I didn't know what I was going to use it for, and now it's like It's just a good backdrop for everything.
All right. It takes you down a notch that it's, it's like one of those,
right?
It's like those clubs that you play that like the club is never going to be that good when they have a fake brick wall. It's just never that good.
You know, what's interesting is
it doesn't matter,
We were eating at this really nice restaurant the other day, and we look over and they've got the same brick wallpaper on. And we're like, we know that's fake because it's our wallpaper.
Was it a Cracker Barrel? What was it?
I mean, I said fancy, so yes, of course it was a fat Cracker Barrel.
Fancy dumplings, baby.
I don't even know if this has a mic cord.
Okay. Yeah. Now you've messed up my rhythm. I was just like, I'm sorry. I had everything going. We were in a flow. We were in some comedy matrix. And then now, hold on a second. Let me do this. Oh, you're feeling good about yourself and like flowing well? All right. Let me mess this up.
Yeah.
A real relative. Like a real relative. Just when I start to feel good about myself, you just take it down.
I mean, you did say it was family. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
I got to reinforce it.
All right, let me take some more Focus Factor. This show is sponsored by Focus Factor. You can buy this bottle at Costco for $20. So I recommend it. It's good stuff.
I just went to Costco in New York City today.
Oh, stop it! Y'all don't have no Costco. Where is it?
117th Street, Harlem.
All right. I guess that's New York. Barely.
Yeah. I had to take a train and a bus.
That's hilarious. Do you drag it on the subway? All your stuff? Yeah. That's so funny. Well,
I took a backpack.
You can't be buying that much.
Huh?
You can't be buying that much stuff. You drag it on the subway.
3 bags of frozen vegetables, some olives, some feta cheese. All the good stuff.
All right, now we've gone off the rails here. We're doing shopping lists. I really brought us in nicely. I just want everybody to know that. I was on my way
for a while.
I was on my way, and then two rednecks. Something happens at some point. Educated rednecks. Well, one educated, one artsy. Here we are. You're pretty artsy yourself, but. What are we talking about? Okay. All right. So I think, do you do anything about your taking the guy down like that? Because that's very funny.
Yeah, I haven't done that.
It's very funny.
It's interesting.
It's funny. It's just like how it's just every dude, they have that kryptonite, of like what brings them down, It's like, and a lot of times it doesn't matter if the guy's smart or not smart or whatever. It's like, man, you just call somebody out by their, their, whatever, what would be the word? Like their inefficiencies or what's the word?
Their weaknesses,
weakness, whatever.
Insecurities.
Insecurities is what it is. Yeah. I mean, I will fist fight anybody over. I've like had full blown fist fights because the guy, I'm the guy. You knock my hat off, it's on, or something like that. Whatever. I'm the guy. It's like I don't even think about it. It could be my mom. I'd be like, "We're going. We're in this."
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the trigger.
But it's very disrespectful. People flit. It's like they're trying to do it out of some sort of whatever. So everybody has an insecurity. But
interesting. Yeah.
But you correct grammar. That's when people do it in real life. That's a whole nother level of disrespect.
Yeah. If somebody's talking, that's not a written medium.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I just can say, well, also we grew up, you grew up around people, I grew up around people who you're like, they're talking a dialect of English. Like,
yeah. Fix and to do is not proper, but it's, we understand it.
Yeah. It's not in a book proper, but I would argue the merits of y'all over accurate grammar every day.
Well, you're biased to that for sure. But
it makes more sense because the accurate grammar is to say you to include a group of people.
Yeah.
You to include one person. And instead of using the same word for both of them, y'all.
No.
That is way better. That's way better.
It is better, but I think it's morphed into being like normal and like proper, I guess, in some regions or whatever.
Yes. But it will, in New York City, it will immediately, they're like, okay, hick, immediately. And I'm like, sure. I mean, I'm wearing a trucker hat when they're saying it, so I'm like, I'm not exactly hiding it.
Yeah, that's a funny thing to think about. Well, we're just going off. Who cares? But well, very few people can relate to me on what I'm about to talk about, and you're one of the few people in my life. But there's this thing that happens, and when you grow up in Texas or the South or wherever it might be, Tennessee, certain places around the country, Florida even, and then you move to places like Metropolis, New York City or Los Angeles or somewhere. And then it's like, how much hick do you keep? Like how much redneck do you hold on to, and it's just like, or how much, Texas do you, it's like, it's funny now that I've been in LA, it's like, there's something about like, with the teams and everything. That's one thing that's like easy, you're just like, I live here, but I'm this fan from Texas. And so it's like, I got my Rangers hat. I got the Mavericks hat. I got so it's like, that's this thing that you cling on to as like a transplant. And then, but then it fades a little. Some things fade, and it's like, but you're always fighting it a little bit, like even this, the Mavericks thing was, I'll be a Lakers fan or whatever. Yeah. It's like but it's just something funny about it. And like I won't really eat biscuits and gravy that much just because it'll kill you. But it's so I've had to tell myself out loud, it's like, I'm not really doing fried food anymore. And like, I never thought I'd say that, know? And it's like, cause I just came from this region of people that's like deep fried and gravy and things. So that's something like I'm living out here. I'm like, I should probably, I'll see it once in a while on a menu or something. I'll be like, I really want that. But I have to treat it like drinking. It's like, I can't do it. If I do it, I'm off the rails.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I've you know what I mean?
To a celebratory level with it.
Okay.
Like I got a 2-minute bit about the wonders of bacon.
Okay.
But I only eat bacon about twice a year, and it's usually when I'm somewhere where like there's some amazing dish that's got bacon in it or something. I rarely I'm not going to cook my own bacon, and I rarely just order bacon straight, but you go somewhere. I was just in Puerto Rico and they had something with bacon, and I'm like, well, this is my first time this year. I was like, this is a good looking dish, and I'm not coming back to Puerto Rico for a while. So
I wish I could do drugs and alcohol like that, but I can't.
I mean, that's the thing is like, I fortunately living with a vegetarian,
that's right. So
most of my diet is pretty healthy. So
that's funny. I usually do bacon if it's like a, like a Hilton Garden Inn free breakfast. That's usually when I'm hitting my bacon.
See, I won't do it then because I feel like I'm getting the lesser of the bacon. I'm like,
all right,
bacon is a huge treat for me now.
There's really only 2 levels of bacon, in my opinion. It's either crispy or it's not.
Yeah, I get it.
If it's crispy, it can go down.
I mean,
it's about how it's cooked. I don't think that's like I know there's better bacon. I know there's like filet mignon bacon, but in the realm, if it's crispy, I'm going to eat it. It's going to taste about the same as the $9 a slab bacon. You know what I mean?
Yes. I will say the great thing about bacon, and the great thing about most Southern food that's like specifically comes from the South is that it was done by poor people. So it was a way to make subpar meat taste great.
Yeah.
You cook it longer, you cure it, you salt it right, You cook it slow, stuff like that. That's why barbecue's great. That's why Tex-Mex and Mexican food's great.
No, I love how you tried to, scholastic that whole thing, but it's basically slave food. But I got you.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. We don't like talking about it, but it is. I mean, that's part of the problem with America is we're not willing to admit. We're like, look, okay, that was a bad decision on a human level.
But man, that tastes delicious.
Bacon's great, I mean,
there you go. Yeah, there's a tag to your bacon bit.
Yeah, there you go.
See, we make it, it's about making each other better. That's what
it is.
It's this whole idea that I had in my head about this. But no, that's funny. But yeah, but there's that thing, it's like I wore a cowboy hat for years. I wore, certain things. It's like, and it was just like a slowly kind of like, sometimes the city, takes you in and then, but you have to, you make that choice, and you find yourself, like just kind of transforming into that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Do you feel like stand-up comedy pushed you closer to your Southern heritage or further from it?
Closer.
Yeah.
Because I think I definitely took advantage of it, when I started comedy. And because it's like, because I went to art school and all that stuff. So I went down that lane first, and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to be an artist and all this stuff." And then in comedy, and then of course when I started comedy, it was like blue collar comedy tour. I was like, "Hey." I was like, I mean, I could pull this off. I mean, I never faked an accent or anything. I even had managers and stuff say, "Hey, you don't talk Southern enough. Like you need to ham it up." And I'd be like, this is how a lot of Dallas Fort Worth people talk. Like we don't all talk like, we're just right out of the, pig pen, and it's like, so that was, but I will get angry when you tell me I don't sound Texan, and I'm like, dude, it just drives me crazy. It's like, well, I'm sorry, dude. I lived in New York City. I lived in South America. Like I've traveled and stuff. Like, it's like, I guarantee you, go to Dallas right now at the Angelica. You're going to find 10 guys that talk like me. They don't all talk like they work at the bait shop. But that is something that will trigger me when you tell me I don't sound Texan. It just drives me.
I had that told to me during an audition. When I was auditioning for a Texan character, and I laid on thick. I literally impersonated my uncle.
Yeah,
and I laid it on thick.
That's
and they're like
crazy.
They're like, that's not a Texas accent. I'm like, and when they said that, I'm like, if you have the balls to tell me that, I go, where are you from?
Did you say that?
Yeah, because if you got the balls to tell me it's not a Texas accent, you're not going to hire me. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not trying to get a job anymore. I'm trying to fight.
That's why I love you. That's hilarious.
So I go, where are you from? And he's like, New Jersey. And I'm like, you know where I'm from? I'm from Texas. I'm like, I just did my accent. So travel, then write a script, then cast it or hire somebody.
That's awesome.
I was real douchey. Look, I tell you right now, every time I get rejected by a casting director, I'm like, well, I was douchey to one too. So I probably deserve a little bit of this.
Yeah, no, I mean, but I think once in a while, you gotta poke the gorilla once and feel like you got one in. You got one in. That's for every bad audition or whatever.
You get your jabs. I mean, look,
you got one.
That'll be a story for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's so funny. I mean, that's the only thing worse than that was I've heard there's been a few cases. One in particular, I guess it was Freddie Prinze, the famous comedian.
Yeah.
And I guess the guy, the younger comedian that was in his life that actually ended up giving him the gun that he killed himself with or whatever. They did, they did drugs together and guns and whatever. They had this crazy lifestyle together. But he was basically, he was the guy that was with him all the time. And they were making the movie. And he auditioned to be himself and didn't get the part. And there's a few times where I've heard of that where people they're auditioning to be themselves.
Oh yeah,
and they don't get it. I just think that's always so funny. What a funny thing to be in the car after that audition.
I will tell you right now, if you're trying to be an actor at all, go through a year of auditioning in a major market like New York, LA. It will teach you that zero things make sense. Yeah. Nothing. I'll do a terrible audition and I'll get a call back. I'll do an amazing audition where the face on the thing looks like my face. I'm like, that looks like they do a picture of me. I'll do that. Nothing. I won't get a call back. I'll have casting directors talk to me after the audition, because they really enjoyed the audition and they'll start a conversation with me. And then nothing. No callback or anything. It's like, doesn't. It's all a crapshoot. you go. I mean, that's the great thing about stand up is I'm just going in here to do crowd work.
Yeah.
I'm just going in this audition. I memorized some lines. I'm going to do a little bit of crowd work, and then I'm going to walk out of here. And I just did a 5-minute set in front of a group of people who are making decisions about the next 6 months of my life.
Yeah, I think, I could see you've been inspired by, some great people, because that's what a lot of people do to get through that audition process. They treat it either like it's a mini play, like it's a set, instead of that, please love me kind of mentality. It gets you through.
Like, I do a lot of that.
Yeah. And it's like, but I think that's a smart way to do anything, really.
Yeah.
It's just, enjoy it as if it's, especially in LA. Are you kidding me? I mean, we need auditions just so we can say we got stage time.
Yeah.
You guys are out there. I'll tell you, I'm jonesing for those that old stage time I got. I tell you, woo, it's pretty rough out here. But yeah, so but hey, the weather's great. I'll tell you that.
There you go.
Just keep telling ourselves that over and over. But the weather's amazing. I got up twice this month, but the weather's awesome.
I got up twice, but it was sunny when I was up.
Right. I wear shorts in February. That's all I'm saying. So I don't know what
I do too, but not for the right reasons.
Oh, I know. You're one of those white dudes.
I'm one of those weird dudes.
Yeah, that wears the white shorts way too early.
Yeah.
Oh, hilarious.
And the great thing about being in this city, though, is no matter what you're doing, there's going to be 10 people who hate you no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
Be dressed perfectly. You could be dressed like a moron. You could be dressed like a douchebag, whatever. Same number of people are going to hate you. Same number of people are going to ignore you. And the same number of people will be dressed worse than you and better than you.
You should write a book, dude.
And some of those people are dogs.
Oh, my dog is definitely dressed better than you. I'll tell you that.
Sure. Are you kidding? I live on the upper west side of Manhattan. I see dogs that I ask their owner, I'm like, where'd he get that coat? You think they make that bigger? You think they make that in a husky?
You have 6 Texas sports hats. You have ones on the wall. You're wearing one.
Oh yeah.
And the other ones you wear to weddings and gatherings. That mean something.
I got my wedding hats.
I do too. I mean, I'm just hats for days. Cool. All right. Let me think about something here. So last time we were talking, Brian and I were talking about, like I'm in recovery. And so it's, a lot of my life is thinking about everything, being sober, and then, thinking about, how drugs are just everywhere and everything is infected by it. And then it's just like, but then it's done some good things, like music would be just, awful without it. We need it. It's inspired people. I mean, Nirvana would basically be Hanson without.
Right. I mean, they would be alive still, but
they are alive. That's the difference. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, but that's the thing. What do you take?
I know. Do you want a full human lifespan of Hanson, or do you want that?
Yeah, I mean, but nobody's selling Hanson T-shirts at Target. You know what I mean? That's
right. I mean, although if he was alive and he saw that his shirts were being sold at Target, he would kill himself again.
He would. There you go. There's the joke.
Here we go.
Hilarious. No, but it's like, but that's like what, there's just something funny about doing things, sober now. Like, I remember I tried to listen to Fish while I was sober, and it was like, what is happening?
That sounds like, terrible.
Is this song ever going to end? That's all I kept saying to myself. That was for Adam. I just kept going, is this ever going to end? It's just like 3 days. The song's still going.
Is Adam a fish head?
Yeah. There it is. Oh, with the Hansons. I thought that was the Olsen twins. That's hilarious.
That is sacrilege. I have a bit. I talk about how the way to understand Generation X is that we began with Star Wars and we ended with Nirvana. And like, if you want to understand it, you have to understand that we started with this movie about war, but it was really deep down about hope and about the ability for good to overcome evil. And we ended with this rock group that was named after the pinnacle of human existence and did not turn out well. And I compare Luke Skywalker and Kurt Cobain, and I end right now. It ends with me going. We started with a new hope, and we ended with never mind. That's basically it. That's basically the trajectory of Generation X. But I've been playing around with some tags. Like, we knew it helped us to have Star Wars because we knew that we could get over Kurt Cobain's death, knowing that he passed on the force of all that good music to Dave Grohl. And he would eventually, conquer the world. So, I mean, it's like it helped us process things. I'm trying to see if I can make that into more of a full.
I love it. And it's so true. I feel like there's two things that happened at the end there. It was Nirvana and then watching O.J. Simpson in a white Jeep going down the highway, or, like a Blazer, like that was, those are the two pinnacle things at the point.
Right.
We're just all watching that TV like, what is going on?
Yeah, we watched news end.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
basically, O.J. Simpson took Walter Cronkite's ghost and drove him out of the picture.
He did. I think you should play with that. There's something funny about that moment in time with OJ, because it happened about the same time. And it was just, because that's why when I started comedy, it was all OJ jokes and Nirvana jokes. And that's, so it's like hilarious.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Play with that idea, because OJ has to come in there at some point, because it's like, because he's this guy to us that was like this amazing football player. And then he was like he was on every ad, and he was like in silly movies. And then it's like, he's just, I don't know. There's something about it changed kind of how we saw the world, seeing like this guy, this Heisman winner in a Bronco getting chased by the police.
Yeah. We saw this man go from like icon of everything.
Oh,
He was the Hertz guy. He was in the Naked Gun franchise.
Yeah. And before Trump and Biden and all that stuff, it was like, do you believe OJ's guilty or innocent?
Yeah.
And the trial was what divided us as people.
Remember
it had nothing to do with
all? Remember when that was it?
That was it. That was just either you thought he was guilty or not guilty. That was the divide.
Yeah.
Nobody cared about politics.
And then when the jury said he's not guilty, we're like, well, we don't agree with it, or we do agree with it. We're just going to move on. We're just going to move on to the next thing.
I mean, it created a little thing, and then it, but it was just like, so simpler time.
Simpler time. I have in my Gen X joke, I say that we were the generation between 3 channels and YouTube, and we were the generation that learned that 200 channels is the perfect amount of information for the human brain to process.
Yeah.
Anything past that, we're doomed.
Yeah.
Any more information. We're not any smarter. We just have all the information.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's picked up slack, like I do a joke where I talk about like, I love YouTube because YouTube taught me how to throw a football. It taught me how to change the oil in my car, do basic plumbing. YouTube is the dad I should have had.
Yeah. YouTube is a great dad. It is.
Yeah. So
the problem is YouTube is also your conspiracy theorist friend. You just got to know how to recognize the dad part of YouTube and the friend part of YouTube.
Yeah, you just take what you want.
Yeah, I think that's a good angle on that. Is like just the ability to watch YouTube responsibly is how to recognize your dad from just an old dude who's trying to give you candy. I think that's a good.
Yeah, no, that's funny. Like, there's like the positive and the light and the dark of YouTube.
Yeah.
Basically. That's so funny. What do we got here?
There we go.
That's a great shirt, dude.
That is a great shirt.
I would rock that shirt. I would rock that shirt in like a heartbeat. I could sell that at shows.
I'll send you the image.
I need to get an image of Nirvana, but with the cast of Star Wars.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Han Solo.
Whip that one up.
Yeah, whip that up.
That's what I need. I will 100% I will 100% wear that shirt. That is, I'm working on a thing right now where I'm trying to. What's Kurt Cobain's birthday? I forget. I think it's in May.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I have no idea. I wasn't a huge fan, but I became a fan a little later than life.
It was in February.
February is his birthday? Oh,
Yeah.
was the day he died in May? That may have been what it was. I was thinking there's a day between the day Kurt Cobain died and Star Wars Day that should be Gen X Day.
Oh, I got you. I don't know. You're really searching. You're really reaching for that. I love it.
I'm not just reaching for it. I made a whole chart. This is the crappy part about going to school for math. I got so many of my jokes that are broken down into spreadsheets and or charts.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I just have just
Don't
random.
be jealous. Don't be jealous.
Just random shit. I don't even.
All I'm doing is building shells for my anxiety, man. It ain't anything to be jealous of.
I just have no this. It's chaos, pure chaos.
I like that line though. Building shells for my anxiety.
There you go. Right. That's what the show's about, man. Just
That's
find
what we're
stuff,
doing,
bro.
buddy.
Just find stuff. Have you ever done cruises?
No, you know what? I have been rejected by cruises. I got an agent who was submitting me for cruise stuff, and I just can't. I couldn't get any cruise work, and I'm at that point where I might still take cruise work, but it would have to be the right cruise work. But,
yeah, I haven't done them yet, but I signed this big contract with these cruise, I guess, management people or whatever, and they seem to like me. They like me, and then I guess to see if the cruise likes you or whatever. I guess that's how that works.
I will tell you, the cruise has not liked me so far. So, so I wish you.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they got real excited about me. That's good. Warshaw Entertainment or something. But I was but I don't know what's going on. But but the thing is, you got to do the 245s and all that stuff.
Yeah,
two different shows, and I'm just curious because it's I think when you do get something like that, it's then it's the brain has to go into that kind of. Yeah,
I think you just reorganize it a little bit. Yeah. I mean, you're there material wise, so it's just going, oh, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to separate it from this.
Expand stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they just wanted me to submit something. They're like, oh, we need a clip that's dirty, and I don't. But I did. I found one clip that had a joke about the porn stash.
Yeah.
And I all right, there's my dirty clip, I guess.
First of all, the hardest thing to do in comedy is to be clean and crush. And then it's the easiest thing in comedy is anybody can tap into dirty. That's the fact that's what, you know what I mean? It's stop.
Well, the thing is, whenever I do have to do dirty for something, and it's rare, but whenever I do, I just curse. Yeah, I have 4 dirty jokes, and I've always had those 4 dirty jokes, and I really, it's that's it, really. Yeah.
But it's I really don't have much more than those 4. And then some people will make me out to be a dirty joke guy, and I'll be like, no, dude, I just got 4 jokes. I only use them if it's a club and it's late or whatever.
Yeah.
And everything else is pretty clean. And then especially if I don't curse at all, and I've definitely worked on that. But I don't know.
I most of my stuff is all of my stuff's squeaky clean curse wise, but I don't. Even my dirty stuff's not.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're just not a gross person. So
I mean,
you're not. You're just
Nicky would argue with that.
You're not. I know, dude. Trust me. Where we're from, we know gross people.
That's true.
You chew with your mouth closed. You're you're a gentleman, man. You're a Southern gentleman. But well, speaking of food, so I was talking about that. Doing stuff sober, and then almost I just remember just having a Big Mac sober and thinking, oh, okay, this thing is not what I thought it was. You know what I mean? There's just so when you were drunk, certain things, you bite into a pizza roll, a Tino's pizza roll or something. You're drunk. That's the most amazing thing you ever put in your mouth.
Right. You're craving oil
Yeah.
and
When you're
savory.
high or something, like
Oh,
you just go crazy. But when you're sober and you eat a Hot Pocket, it's a different life experience.
Yeah.
It's just like, what?
Yeah.
What did I just do to myself?
I mean, Hot Pockets, I think eating a Hot Pocket when it's sunlight out that's depressing.
Yeah.
I think that's,
don't
you're
know
like,
if I've
no, you can't. Whatever I do, I'm waiting till sundown to have that Hot Pocket.
Also, a Hot Pocket after the age of 17, probably, not a good life choice either.
It's not painting your circumstances as ideal.
I remember I worked at a radio thing, and this guy was, he was like almost 38 or something, and he would just eat Lunchables every day. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you just bring it in with the little crackers. I was like, oh,
make a whole sandwich, dude.
You're 30, dude.
That's a cracker. That's a sandwich for people who can't make sandwiches.
Or it's just dumb. People just want attention. You know what I mean? People do stuff like that, want attention, Well,
but I think that's what people do. We love to find our identity through these things.
Through processed food.
Well, because and this something I've been playing with is the idea that we're not good. Humans aren't good at things we can't touch, at things we can't count.
Okay.
So like that's why people having money is this one. They're like, oh, those are great people. No, they just have a lot of things you can count. They just have something that's easy for us to quantify. We can't quantify our identity. That's hard to grasp onto. We've gone to therapy. We've done hours of writing about stuff about ourselves in books, and I still don't fully know who I am. So it's easier for me to define my identity by bringing Lunchables to work every day. It's easier for me to wear a Mavericks hat and say, this is my identity.
I mean, well, that is your identity for sure.
I tell you what,
I can sum up your
until we won the lottery,
quickly.
it wasn't. I was this is the closest I've come to jumping off a Mavericks bandwagon. Whew. But I think that's the thing is we have this spectrum of humanity, and on one end is animal, and on one end is deity.
Okay.
And we can be close. We can never reach the end point. We're not going to be full animal. We're not going to be full deity, but we're going to be headed one direction or facing the other direction. One way or the other. And I think as people, we want to believe we're close to being a god. And we just get lazy and just act more like an animal. And I think it's interesting to see, that's why they cancel arts programs in government, because they're like, oh, this isn't doing anything, but it's doing a ton of stuff. You just can't count it.
Yeah.
You can count how much people pay in taxes. You can say, oh, this is exactly this percentage of that money. That's an easy count. So you're like, oh, we can do this to taxes, and that makes sense. Or we can hire a mathematician that's going to, make this much money or something like that.
Yeah.
But, how do we process our lives? We don't go to sleep and start doing spreadsheets in our sleep. No, we go to sleep and our brain puts on a play. It's like, hey, this is a symbol of what's going on in your life. And in the role of your best friend, Steve, we're casting your dad, and by the way, the costume director didn't come. So you're naked in this scene and you do not like it at all. That's how we.
Yeah,
I think
you're the deepest redneck I've ever met. I love it. It is. I mean, I was trying to do a character called the Enlightened Redneck, and you've basically you are that person. So
that's what we call it, a front porch redneck. It's that dude on the front porch when people are walking by. We just yell out the solution to their problems. We're like, just kiss her.
No, I mean, we try not to be too political on this because I'm trying to, do some stuff with some other platforms. But it's like, it's, just like the canceling NPR or whatever, that kind of stuff. It's like that does so much good to people's brains that people, are just going to act like it, it's just frivolous or whatever. But, it's, I don't know. It's like every time I go to a museum or something, it's like I'm a better person when I leave. Like it just does something in my head that people, that's true. You can't count it. You can't place it. You can't see it.
Right.
So
You know what's extraordinarily valuable is empathy. And you can't, people can't even define empathy. I mean, that's one of those things that's hard for people to even wrap their heads around as a concept. And yet, if you read a book, that is the simplest pathway. You are literally living in somebody else's world.
Yeah.
And it's one of the greatest things you can do for your brain. You know, and
just like on January 5th, if all those guys had just gone to like a fringe festival or something, they would.
Yeah, if they'd all just gone and seen if they'd all just gone and seen Barbie.
Well, easy on that one, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's true. Barbie would have pissed them off.
Yeah,
if they'd gone to see Oppenheimer.
There you go.
First of all, they would have been exhausted.
Yeah, they wouldn't have made it. They wouldn't have made it through that. That was a pretty long one. That's a long one for even us intellectuals.
You know what I did? This is maybe one of my greatest accomplishments. I've got one of those my greatest beat the system accomplishments. I've got one of those AMC stubs.
Yes.
Passes where you can just go see like
you talk about it a lot, which that's what I love about you. Like you're pretty proud of that. Some people are like, yeah, I got
but this is what I did.
American Express card. Yeah, I got the AMC stubs.
Yeah, I mean that is a redneck flex right there. I got AMC stubs. It's named after my uncle, so I bought it.
Back it up,
Uncle Stub. But I went to see I was trying to go see Oppenheimer because I live across the street from one of the IMAX movies. There's like 7 theaters that do pure IMAX. And one of them's across the street from where I live. And so one night I got home early and there was a 10:30 showing of Oppenheimer. And it had been sold out in IMAX. And I just looked to see if there were any seats available. And there was. So I go and see it. And I'm like, if I get tired, I'm going to see what's playing tomorrow. And sure enough, there was a 10:30 a.m. showing. So I go into the 10:30 movie. I get tired about 12:30, so I just go home. And then the next morning, I get up and I go at about 12:15 into the theater and start the movie from that point. I sat in the exact seat that I left the night before. It was like having Oppenheimer showing in 70 millimeter in my living room. That's one of my great accomplishments.
No, I love you. The extended version. That's amazing. Well, you got to come hang out with me, man. I live across the street from Chinese Theater, man.
Do you really?
Yeah, right across the street. I mean, I walk over there, and the IMAX there is phenomenal, and it's like such history there. So you got to come out.
Yeah, that's a massive historical.
Yeah, just come out, stay a week, do some auditions, play some clubs. Like it's fun. Sleep on my couch.
I do need to get out there.
It's nothing. It's nothing, man. You don't have to pay anything. Leah likes you. We'll have a good time.
No,
you know, but you're one of the friends, though, that I could just be like, yeah, hang out with us and be in your boxers and everything's normal. There's some people I'd be like, nah, there's a Roosevelt Hotels across the street, too, if you want to do that. You should come hang out with us. You just got to like dogs. I mean, I hung out with your hairless cat dogs for a minute, so it can't be any worse than that. Yeah. The old hairless cat days.
Oh, that's right.
So funny. All right, let's do one wheel turn. Adam,
okay.
Let's do that. Let's see what you got, and we'll see what we can come up with.
Let me bring up the wheel.
And Adam picks the category, so I apologize in advance. He's a weird guy.
Perfectly fine.
I don't know.
I'm all for it.
He's still into partying and stuff, so we don't know what he's going to give us. It won't look like this in post. This is just the.
It'll look a lot better.
It'll look a lot better. So.
Let's see. We got making friends as an adult.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'll start. This is a funny one because I just kind of met a guy that I like, and which is, it's hard for a Texan to admit stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you're an adult and you find a male that you like, and here's the deal. He's like, he's like 26. He's half my age. And so it's like, it's a funny thing with comedians. Like we find ourselves around different types of people. I always say if the world could just do stand up for 2 years, it's like they would not be racist. They wouldn't be homophobic because we're in a green room with all the people that you don't like or whatever, like all the time. So I just think it's funny. And I've noticed it where it's just like, with this new adult friend of mine that I've, about a year, I guess. It's like, I don't know if it's like clinging. It's my attempt of having a son, and I'm filling in for his shitty father. Like I don't know what's really happening, but we play racquetball together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I help him with tags. So,
that's good. Just be careful before you start helping him with taxes.
Yeah, he don't want me helping with taxes. He'll be arrested. But I don't know. I don't know how you feel, but it's like, and I think there's some sort of like Gen X thing too, with like feeling awkward, talking to other dudes and being like, "Hey, you want to go out and we'll go to a movie or whatever?" Like, because there's so much like ridiculous homophobic crap and all that in our psyche.
Well, and also being from Texas, I don't feel comfortable saying a phrase like "no homo." Like, even when that was a phrase that was not looked, like unfavorable.
That was very long lived. Way too.
I know. I was like, I don't understand. I'm like, it's so weird. No, I think the weird thing about it is I grew up with a very stoic dad. All of my friends were through like just natural, through playing sports or through, being involved in groups or going to school with people or growing up next door to somebody.
Yeah.
So like meeting a friend after, like, going to college was a big thing because, but I was in a dorm. And so I'm like on the floor with people. So it's like, we're sort of forced friendships. And that's when I was dating. And then you date and then you try to meet friends when you live in your own space by yourself or with your partner or whatever you're doing. And then you meet a person and you're like, oh, I don't know the difference between dating and friendship a little bit and how to manifest this, Yeah. It's almost like there's this weird cloudiness. Also, if you grow up religious too, and you're not even allowed to talk about the nuances of dating. So I'm like, I don't know whether I should kiss you goodnight or give you a pound on. It's like in your brain, you're like in this weird fog.
Yeah, I think friendship is all about familiarity, where it's just
well
like,
said.
I barely got through it, but I got through it.
You got us there, man.
Familiarity?
I'm not going to lie. I felt like there were a couple of apostrophes in there, but that one was good. You got us there.
That is the Texas curse. So there's a few words out there. Woo! I sweat when I say them. But it's like for you, for example, it's like, I mean, Nate's the same way. When somebody's from a certain place, Southern, Texan, whatever, it's just automatic. Cause it's like, I'm going to know, you're going to know what, being on a boat, fishing for largemouth bass, putting a worm on a hook and drinking beer. You don't know what you're going to know what that is. Right. You're going to know what the gravy is, why cream and brown have this like fight with each other. Like you're going to understand all these things. Yeah. And so you understand the curse of the cowboys or whatever. You're just going to get all these things that we could relate to automatically. And so it kind of just, I don't know, it jumpstarts the friendship. Because
it does. And I think we did the exact thing that men do when they're friends is we haven't seen each other in a while. And we start in with like, what about the Mavericks, man?
Yeah.
We basically were saying the male version, man, oh, it's so good to see you, man. I have missed you so much. But instead we're like Cooper Flag.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to lie. I would say this, and I know we never really hang out. I hadn't seen you in years. You're still probably one of my favorite friends because you're a guy. Because I have some guys I can go to the museum with, but I can't go to the game with. And so you are a guy we could go see a game, and then right after we could just see some weird thing at the Met or whatever.
Absolutely,
and still kind of enjoy the whole day.
Yeah, and we're going to eat nachos at both of those places.
But we could also eat nachos and then also talk about our calorie intake and it not be weird. It's like, so that's like, you are definitely the complete person for me as an adult friend, because I have great friends, but you know, they don't want to go to a baseball game, or they don't want to go to something that's a little more artsy. So, so that is funny to me that you kind of, because you're very much like I am in so many ways. And so it's, I don't know.
Curious.
We're narcissistic people. So we like people that are more like
curious, us. But I think narcissistic might have nailed
it. we just, you know, we long for people that are more like us. So that's it. Yeah. You got any other adult friends? Do you meet adults like friends, and you find guys where you're just like, you know, just new friends? I think comedy does open it up.
I was about to say, the weird thing about comedy is you do meet a lot of people who you connect with, but you also so often are connecting with them for a very limited amount of time.
Yeah.
You know, in the clubs, you'll connect with them, and then you might not see them for a couple of weeks or whatever the case is. But like, you go on the road, you might, you know, work with somebody one weekend and not see them again for 5 years.
And you have this tight bond, and you get along, and it's connected, but you never really reach out. You know what thing I get angry about? Like I have some comedy friends that, and it's not that I took care of them. I don't care about that. But I've been to weddings, you know, of people that don't like, you know, I've been to your wedding, dude, and you don't text me once in a while. Like that just, I don't even understand that. Like, it's, you know, I don't know. Stuff like that where you're just like, I mean, I get it. People get busy. They have kids, or the life goes on and on. But it's just, you know, there's this certain, like, you invited me to your wedding, the sacred day of your life, and you're not going to, like, you know, just text me once in a while. You know, it's weird.
I do think that, I assume that people are just not good at being vulnerable. And I do think, as a guy, sometimes to be the first one to like to like put yourself out there. Yeah. There's a feeling of vulnerability, and I'm fortunate enough to, you know, like you, have been in the arts and have been around people who are like, use that vulnerability, show that vulnerability. Like it's a tool in your toolbox. It's not a weakness. It's a strength if you can harness it, you know?
Yeah. Well, also social media too, where it's to feel like, you know, we feel like we're watching the life, you know, unfold. Right. So you're like, I don't have to ask you what you're doing. I know you've been touring with this guy. I know you've been doing this. I know you're still together with your girl. I know you I know you got a new dog. I know you got, like, you don't even have to have a conversation because it's all there. You know it all. Yeah. So whatever we talk about together, it would be basically what you saw my last 9 posts.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. You know,
everything we're going to discuss, you saw the whole thing.
Well, that's why I always say the best friends you have are the ones where you're like, immediately when you see them, you go to the deepest part, as you get there faster than anybody. Yeah. And I a lot of times will say that the best friends that a person has are usually the people who they forget to take pictures of. Yeah. You know? Because a lot of times we get in that whole, like, we're going to post this, we're going to document this, we're going to, you know, and I think a lot of times for me, I'll walk away from a situation where I'm like, I wish I got a picture. And then I'll just smile, because I'm like, I'm sort of glad that I never thought to get a picture, that it never.
Yeah, you know? that is always a cool thing. And then the coolest thing is what I've done a lot lately is, you know, I'll hang out with famous people and not get their picture. And I just think I'm way cooler than most people.
I mean, it's true.
But in my head, I'm just like, if you had any idea who I was playing poker with, you'd be so impressed. But now I just have to live with it here.
But those are the greatest things, because you're like, I spent time with this person who I had always, you know, known in a sort of distant, you know, looking up to, or you know, the heroic status or whatever they are, you know, and then you're like, but I just hung out with them as a dude. Yeah.
Dudes. Well, that was, I think we should fire Brian, Adam. This is a way better show. Jason and I are very well connected in this cosmic something. I don't know what it is, but it's working.
The barbecue
the
cosmic
flow is nice. I always get mad at Brian. He's just over there. I was like, stop doing that, you know. It's so fun. But thanks for coming out. Can you plug your stuff? Like, what's your handles and specials or whatever you got?
My stand-up special is on YouTube. It's Biscuits and Gravity.
Love it.
I went with a pun that is almost always mispronounced as biscuit and gravy. So it was a terrible idea for a title, but I'm still proud of it. I still like the title. If you want to hear my whole 12-minute Gen X bit, that's where that is.
Nice.
But yeah, and then Jay Salmon comedy on all the social media, and yeah.
Cool. Awesome. That's our show. Subscribe, pass it around, let people know this is a different kind of stand-up show. We write bits. We kind of go deeper. We go deeper. I mean, we go as deep as you could go today. I don't know what Jason was talking about for the past 8 minutes, but it was impressive. I couldn't keep up. It was like some deity animal thing. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and figure out what that was.
Well, it's clearly not a joke yet. That's for sure.
No, I like it. I just had to bring in a team just so I can understand it. But, that was awesome, dude. Thanks for being here. Woo!
Thanks for having me, man.
Well, folks, that's our show. It's time for us to go. Make sure to follow us, give us a like, drop us a comment, and always subscribe. We're Chasing Comedy on all the socials. We hope you had a gas, had some laughs, and maybe you learned something too. Until next time, we're Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy.